Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well this week. This is your tarot starting Tuesday the 12th of December. Now this morning I awoke to the most beautiful snow-covered landscape, and this time of year really reminds me about family and purity and wholeness, because the sun will soon be at its lowest point on the zodiac, and this is far away from the heavenly abode in the sky above, and thus we will be clutching at family and friends and memories of day gone by, because the sun knows not if it will return again on the eastern horizon, resurrected and exalted. Now I'm going to be using the Thoth deck for today's reading, and this was actually one of the first decks I ever got my hands on, and admittedly it's taken a long time for the messages contained within to slowly reveal themselves through layers of psychology and symbolism. And I dare say this is one of the best decks out there, and I highly recommend it to anyone interested in tarot. Now let's look at the week ahead. We will be better prepared to understand and work with the energies and influences around us, and we will have insights into the fundamental nature of body and our minds. So looking to this week, we have the Five of Wands, which is titled Strife, and we have the Knight of Cups, and we have the Nine of Discs, which is titled Gain. So we have the Five of Wands to start us off this week, and this card is titled Strife in the Thoth deck. And if you chose card 1 today, it's highly likely that you may be presented with a conflict or contest with another this week. Now obviously depending on your environment and the people around you in your circle, this interaction could manifest as possibly maybe a petty hassle or a clashing of personalities. It could also represent friendly competition of some kind, or a mental test that will push you to think in new ways. And when we look at the 5 in tarot, we always see a loss of stability, and this is just the way it's written in numerology, because we have the apparent safety and security of the 4, and then boom, another element or factor can come into play, and what was once stable, either in our minds or beliefs or in our environment, is now pushed to adjust to this new situation, and this can in some cases cause distress or partial loss or competition. And so we have strife this week. And what are we to do about it? Well, this depends on your situations and encounters. If you're part of a team and you know that there may be some personalities possibly clashing this week, then maybe you need to readjust your strategy and reaction to such things, if you truly desire peace anyway over strife, because it's nearly inevitable that some people will have different opinions to others. Opinions are like faces, everyone has one, and it can be plain frustrating when you're faced with another person's apparent misunderstanding or aggressions or what you perceive as plain ignorance. But we need to understand that in our own minds, that is, in your mind, and in the one that does not agree with you, the fact is that we are all correct in our assumptions and our beliefs. Now I hope you heard that correctly. Even when you know for a fact that the other person is plainly wrong, they are still right. And they're still right because in their minds they still believe it to be right, and so do you. Well, in your mind that is. So until the both of you either come to a compromise, or until you can both accept that neither of you will agree on something, then obviously there's going to be problems. I think this lack of insight or acceptance is one of the main factors for war and disharmony around us today in society. I don't feel we're fully human in our social evolution. We still lash out at people we don't understand or fear, and we still fight tooth and nail to convert people to our way of thinking. I think we do this to try and bring back about stability and peace as symbolised in the number 4. But what we don't realise is, we're not fighting for peace. We're actually fighting to take back our inner harmony and our version of reality so that we can feel safe in our little bubbles again. So I think we really need to learn to grow and get over ourselves. We're missing out on a wealth of treasure and experience when we close the door to other people's private worlds. But if we can embody what someone is saying just for a moment, if we can try and feel how their environment likely programmed them into what they're believing today, then I think we have a shot. I think we can have a shot at peace. You'll likely find that when you stop being so stubborn and holding on to your ideas so tightly, that the ideas of others contain new knowledge. They probably contain interesting compromises and nuggets of wisdom that you couldn't even fathom from staying in your own way of thinking. Tremendous power can be had when we join our energy with others instead of fighting against them. And we don't completely have to surrender our minds to the ideas of another. This is not total submission. It's just compromise. For every person has the right to believe what they will. Yet no soul is permitted to force those beliefs onto another. True liberation and freedom can only be a reality when we're allowed to believe what we want to believe, if we do so with dignity and grace. So if you find yourself in this place this week, either with someone you know or with a stranger, draw upon those strengths of acceptance and compromise and really look to understand their private worlds. And know that you're not giving up by understanding, you are growing. Now we have the Knight of Cups, which could be about your mind and feelings this week, or a person you'll likely encounter who will embody these characteristics. Now I always identify this character as the seeker of the Holy Grail. And just looking at the image of the Green Knight in the Thoth deck, we can see that he is indeed chasing the Grail. The crab before him is rising out of the chalice, and this is symbolising that this journey of the soul is about the spirit raising up out of the shell of the body or nature. And we can see that this mode of travel or thinking that the knight is taking is pure of thought and mind, and this is symbolised by the white horse or Pegasus. Did you ever read that Jesus will return on a white horse in the clouds? It's the same message, and denotes purity of mind and stillness of the chaotic waters of the emotions. For the clouds are uplifted away from the sea. And naturally so, the black horse would of course be the nightmare. In some other legends, when we talk about the white horse, we talk about the unicorn as well, and the black horse is always the opposite. Now this person is a spiritual seeker. They are idealistic, poetic, charming, and at times seductive. This person follows their hearts and dreams and secretly wishes that they had more courage to share them with the world. I think there's a small lesson in this paragraph, because indeed this person is on a path of knowledge and wisdom and they do wish to share it with others, but they feel like they can't, or that their message will be rejected or maybe mocked. And this is a direct result of the mode of travel, for this person is still in a seeking mode. They haven't got to their destination. If this is you, if you feel you have so much to share, yet you're not quite at that point where you know exactly what it is you're wanting to say, this card is advising you to just stay on track and keep on riding that path. Keep learning. Allow those worries and impulses to rest, and know that when you do finally get to that destination, then you will eventually be ready. So just try and understand that this period is a time of learning for you, and give yourself a break from the pressures and worries and potentials of sharing this truth for now. Now this is a fire sign that is antagonizing or affecting water, so there's likely to be emotional instability with this person this week. Now, they may feel like their moods shift suddenly from high to low. Maybe a once firmly held passion for another person can one day burn so bright in their heart, and they can feel overwhelmed with love. And then before you know it, this feeling quickly fizzles out in the water, leaving steam in its wake that really has no substance. And this would leave the person with feelings of emptiness and bitterness at what has been lost. So some tender care is required with this personality over the coming days, because emotions may sway suddenly from high to low, and your inner passions and convictions may stir within you. The advice with the cups today is to try and steer your horse away from the turbulent waters. Avoid putting yourself out there and exposing yourself this week if you know that you do not fully understand that which you are wishing to share. And be on guard for those suddenly changing feelings, and know truly that those feelings come and go like the waves of the ocean. Try not to cling too tightly to one feeling or another. Just let them wash over you and absorb the message that they're bringing with them before the next wave approaches. This feeling state won't last forever. Just know that right now you are moving and journeying through rising waters. So for the Nine of Pentacles, this card is titled Gain in the Thoth deck, so some kind of gain is being insinuated in the message today. As we're receiving in Pentacles this week, then this gain could likely mean that you will receive the fruits of your labour, and we all deserve that. I do think sometimes we forget to celebrate ourselves and our achievements for all our hard work, when the work starts to become possibly habitual and thus appears apparently less important. You've likely got to where you are today through hard work, and you now have the opportunity to enjoy the fruits of all that labour. I'm sure you had to act with discipline and courage, and there were likely times when you had to tame your impulses and pull away from that short-term gratification for the sake of those greater goals. You'll have good luck this week around material affairs. Gain promises that. Money is a key theme here, and thus that self-control and discipline will ensure that wherever there are monetary transactions occurring in your life, they will be acted upon in a way to bring out the maximum result. Now, the 9 indicates a completion of a kind. You may have actually already achieved so much, and now you feel like you've come to the pinnacle of this current phase. Maybe you feel like you're ready to level up. Before you do so, take the time to celebrate and indulge in the rewards you have already accumulated. So, pamper yourself, treat yourself, do whatever it is that brings you most joy, but ensure that it is acted upon with your highest intention. This is a good time for you both physically and emotionally. It's like you've earned your stripes, and now is the time to remember your achievements and to celebrate yourself. I'd like to thank you so much for joining me again today. As always, it's a great honour for me to be able to share these messages with you each week. Please can you press like below if you feel like your card resonated with you. And if you're new here, then welcome. It's wonderful to have you here, and I pray that the insight provided can aid you in your personal life. I will be returning again this weekend, and I do pray you all have a great week. Thank you and God bless.